Welcome to the Crazy Canuck Truckin' Podcast. We are so glad all of you are here. This is episode 20. My name is Bridget. I am the Size Matters Dakotan. My co-host is
the Crazy Canuck Dave. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming in once more. And appreciate that introduction, Size Matters. We missed you last time. And, well, actually, it's going to be, we missed you once in March, but we're going to make it through. We're going to be all right.
As an agronomist, there are some times where I am outstanding in my field, but couldn't always make our time frame. So we do most want to thank the people who come in to listen to our podcast or watch us on YouTube. And again, if you'd like to follow and subscribe, please look for Crazy Canuck Truckin' Podcast, where you listen to your podcast most, whether that's through Anchor, Apple Podcasts, etc. Know that we would love for you to reach out to us via Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. And we're using the same name in our email, crazycanucktruckin@gmail.com. Give us a 5-star rating on those podcasts and subscribe to us so we make sure that you don't miss anything that we're talking about. And a great big thank you to James Dupree and Dixie Inc. because he was kind enough to let us use his original music for our introduction. Speaking of introductions, hey David, who are we talking to today?
We got a really, really cool lady on with us today. I'm gonna digress just for a minute because something that people haven't heard about before, but they may have noticed, is that I'm not doing all of the social media stuff anymore. We have a young lady, VIP. She is doing our media for us, and it's really cool to have her. She's young, she's energetic, she knows this stuff with us kind of older people. You know, she can kind of push us a little bit and make things better. So really glad to have her on board. I call her VIP because she's very important, and her initials are VP, so that kind of works.
Well, let's put it this way. Having her here helping us, we got staff now.
Oh man,
that sounds awesome.
We have a team. We have people working for it. Well,
yeah, no, I think we work for her.
don't want to get too carried away because the pay sucks.
Very nice, very nice.
So we have a lady on today who I've known for a number of years. We met through Twitter, and I've actually met her at different events, industry events in Toronto. Her name is Margaret Hogg. Welcome to the program, Margaret. So glad to have you on with us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's very nice.
And we understand, you know, this is your first time doing this. And
yes, it is.
That's all good. That's all good. You know, we're not very good at it, so you can just relax and we just have a good time.
No, you're very good at it.
So
we're good at having a good time, you guys. We're good at having a good time. Everything else we do, it's okay.
A little suspect, but
well.
So tell us about young Margaret.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, young Margaret. Yeah, I'm very young right now. But what happened is when my parents started JG Drapeau Transport, it was in 1971 that they started it. Okay. And then in 1995, well, I'll tell you the truth. Prior to that, I quit high school, you know, because I wanted to go and work with them and support and, you know, move forward with them. So I did. But then in 1995, that's when I actually started full time as a you know, supporter. And I was learning everything in the trucking industry back in the day, starting in 1995. So I was learning how to do dispatching, how to train drivers, how to you know, support customers, how to, you know, help drivers. You know, I was doing everything, to tell you the truth. Okay. And I loved it. Like, you know, I loved it. And then I think it was 2005 is when commercial warehousing, I decided, hey, you know, let me do some warehousing as well and create the warehousing for us. And so I did that. So I started that, and it was like 150,000 square feet of a warehouse. And I brought on so many clients, and I trained all of my new staff members. I trained everybody. My clients were so happy, so it was amazing. Like, I loved it, right? And then it was, I think in 2013, because we only had men truck drivers at that point, right? So I thought, you know what, I want to hire some women truck drivers as well. So I had, I think it was 8 women truck drivers that I ended up having. So it was really nice. It was really good and supportive and all that. My father, unfortunately, in 2000, he ended up having his 4th-stage cancer and everything, right? So I thought, I got to just keep moving forward and just keep going. And it was great, So yeah, I always supported him as well on all those things. And then a couple of years, well, he ended up surviving, which was great. And then a couple of years later, he ended up having, the 4th-stage lung cancer, and because it spread it up, and he ended up surviving that too because of me. So the doctors were always so happy. They're like, wow, Yeah. Yeah.
So what you're saying is your dad doesn't like to do things halfway. He starts out with stage 4 just because he's an overachiever. He couldn't have worked his way up to that, but then he survives. Congratulations, Dad.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Right. And then, but then I think it was in 2015 or 16, he ended up, he was at the hospital, and I ended up getting a phone call from the priest that he pretty much passed away and everything. So I ran there. Well, I drove there so fast to the Newmarket Hospital, and I went there. And when I arrived, he came back alive. So it was amazing. It was just, he was just, it was because of me, because he just knew how much I just loved caring for him, caring for, JG Drapeau and all the people. It was just, it was wonderful.
I've met your dad, and he's so cool.
Oh yeah.
What really stood out to me was you were showing me around your warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
It was cool. I was getting the tour, and everything's neat as a pin, right, Bridget?
Oh yeah.
Everything looks really good.
Well, why wouldn't it
And
be neat as a pin? Because that's exactly how Margaret operates, right?
yeah.
Well, yeah.
And I
It was
saw this
essential.
guy sweeping,
Yeah.
and he was cleaning things up and whatnot. And she's like, "Oh, David, here's my dad." And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah." He says, "I started off my career sweeping floors and doing stuff like that. And here I am finishing off my career sweeping floors." So he says, "I've
Yeah.
come full circle."
Well, yeah. And
I just love that. That was
well,
so
I
cool.
know. And it's because I ended up being the general manager of everything and all that, right? So I mean,
Right.
I controlled everything and stuff. And he's 84 right now, and he's still, having fun. And so yeah, it's great. It's great. Yeah, it's great.
So let me ask about that warehouse.
Okay.
Refrigerated, air temp, dry goods. I mean, are you specializing in anything in particular in 150,000 square feet?
Yeah, what I was doing is it was dangerous goods. So it was pretty much 90% of dangerous goods, all these clients that I brought on and stuff, right? And we did a lot of transportation of dangerous goods as well. So
I like where this is going. Let's define dangerous goods, please, because I got my own ideas.
For somebody that's not in transportation, exactly what does it mean when you say dangerous goods? Does it mean stuff that's going to go boom? Or is it what? Explain to our listeners that don't know what exactly dangerous goods is, because we start thinking like,
well, dangerous goods, I mean, a lot of my dangerous goods was like the class 3 type and the class 4 type.
corrosives,
Yeah.
oxidizers.
Yeah, exactly, right. So a lot of the raw material stuff like that. But we also had paint product in there as well, which is a class 3 and everything, right? So always made sure that when they were offloading the trucks and all that, and everything, that everything was safe and that they were doing it properly, not speeding, not, things like that, right?
So you said something, I think this is an acronym, WMIS?
WMIS stands for,
Workplace
workplace in, oh God,
hazards,
I should bring out my
Material.
form to show you.
workplace hazards, material information system, something like that.
Yeah, something like
Okay.
that, right? So
Okay.
it helps, yeah, and that's for, mostly dangerous goods and all this kind of stuff. Because a lot of the WMIS, if you don't do dangerous goods and all that, a lot of companies, they're not training people on WMIS.
If you want to haul cereal all the time, you don't need dangerous goods.
No,
If you want to haul battery acid or batteries,
then yes,
you need to have specific training
exactly.
that if something happens, it's like Bridget, you're in crop protection, so you are dealing with the same things. And so Margaret would also be warehousing stuff like that, all that.
That's where I was,
crop
that's
chemicals.
exactly what I was going to go to as well, is, some of our things are labeled because they may have a high flash point or something along those lines, right? Or a lower flash point for that matter. So yeah, you've got hazardous material, placarding on those trucks, that kind of thing. So I understand where you're going. I was first on the lines of, everything goes boom. So, ooh, tannerite, shotgun shells. Yay. So I wanted to ask that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
hauling explosives around.
Yeah.
I'm all about it. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, okay. So that helps tremendously, because I would compare that in my world to like a material safety data sheet that explains what's going on with that material, what should happen in the case of freezing, fire, etc., or
Yeah.
human contact.
The MSDS is
And
part of WMIS.
Well, yeah, and I even bought big, huge signs of WMIS signs and dangerous goods signs, and I would place them in my warehouse on the side there where everybody was walking, and it would show all the essential stuff and all that as well. So yeah, it was great. And then I always made sure that all my employees had forklift licenses as well. You have to have a forklift license.
I'm going to ask that when you're bringing product in and out, are you a long-term storage, or we are literally in for 2 days, out on another truck? What's your turnaround time on your floor space?
We're long-term storage. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're long-term. Some of my clients would sometimes just need something taken off of a container and then placed on one of our trailers so we could get it going the next day or something. Yeah, I mean, there's other things that if there was some items on a container that were damaged, I would always ensure that pictures were taken, the forms were filled. Well, I would always fill out the forms and everything as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'd always send it to my clients and everything, so they would know and they would understand, right? Yeah, I mean, you know what, I'll have to admit, I was always in the warehouse helping people, especially with all my new clients and everything. Like, I just always wanted to share with them and show them, and so all my clients were always, so happy.
Good. That, when you can say I had content clients, that's huge. That's not always the case for many people.
Yeah. I brought on so many clients. It was very nice. It was very nice.
You started from scratch.
Yeah.
There's a part to this story, Bridget, that doesn't end the way we want it to end.
So what would that be?
Margaret's dad decided to sell the business, right?
Well, I'll be honest, he didn't really want it sold. It was, I think it was more of my mom that wanted to have it sold, right? So, it happened, but yeah, it was sold in 2017. Yeah. And then I was there till 2018, and then I was gone.
It's hard to see that happen, eh?
Yeah, it was very hard. It was very hard. I'll be honest. It was very hard. And I just, it's unfortunate, but, I still wish I was there. But yeah. because some of yeah, anyway, I'll stop. But yeah.
No, it's okay not to, you don't have to stop. I'm going to ask, okay, so you take that skill set where you literally create a business from scratch.
Yeah.
You take that skill set. What do you do next?
I want to start working again and do it again, either warehousing or trucking, because it's everything that I can do, right? It's my life. It's all I'm married to. So, you know, I was with another company, but because of the COVID, they had to let some people go and everything, right? So yeah, so now right at this moment, I am now looking for a new job because I need to get working again. I have to get working back into the industry because it's my life. It's what it's what I'm married to. I have no kids. I'm not married. I'm just married to the industry, unfortunately. Right?
But it's not. I mean, that's not an unfortunate. It's not a bad thing, because so many of us in what we do, it becomes ingrained. Working in ag, when people identify themselves, they start with, I'm a farmer. Because even though they might be a spouse or a parent, it's a big deal to say I'm a farmer. And that's exactly what you're doing, Margaret. It is totally ingrained into who you are.
Okay. Yeah.
Margaret
That's not a bad thing.
Margaret has been a huge asset in our industry, and I know that people aren't going to wait too long, and she's going to find something that works very well with her skill set, because she has mad skills. One thing that really impressed me about your company, Margaret, was your drivers and the length of time they stayed around. I'm trying to remember exactly, but I think, did you have 5 drivers that spent not just a long time, but their entire career?
Oh, yes.
Their entire career.
Yes. Yeah.
With Drapeau. Like, that is just unbelievable. Out of 18 drivers you had?
Yeah.
5 of them spent their entire driving career working for JG Drapeau.
Yeah, there was more than 5 of them. I think there was 7 or 8 of them still there.
Okay.
But they're not there anymore.
Yeah.
But they were always letting me know that it was kind of sad that, so they're gone from there.
Yeah.
But
But you don't get to retain drivers like that unless you're doing things well. Is my point.
Yeah.
And what you and your dad and your brother and your mom have done has really had, that's the impact you guys have had on the industry. And I know those drivers, a couple of them, that really looked at your dad as a real father figure.
Yeah, and it's true. And I have to admit to you, like a lot of people in the industry that I know, gentlemen that I know that owns a lot of the companies and everything, they all know my dad. And so every time I talk to them, we're always like, oh my God, your dad was so wonderful. He was like, yeah, I know, and they all loved him too, Hopefully something will come up soon,
I know one thing that you still do, Margaret, and that is you are a board member of Women's Trucking Federation of Canada.
Yes.
And that's a very important organization in Canada.
Yes.
In the US.
Yeah.
And we've had Shelley Juvenal Hesh on our podcast. And that's the only trucking organization that I'm actually a member of.
I know.
Is WTFC.
Yeah, I know. And you were at, our events as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I still have the picture of you, me, and Shelley on my phone still. And I was like, oh, should have I sent that to you too? But I was like, well, because it was so nice. It was so nice. Yeah.
It's really important. As a board member, you're doing really important work there to help help the drivers.
Yeah.
That's always been the thing for me, is there's a lot of people that pay lip service to helping drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people like you, Margaret and Shelley, that actually want to help the drivers and do work
Oh yeah.
with the drivers.
I always want to help men and women truck drivers. Like that's again, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm married to. Like I've always want to support them, you know, and that's why I'm always on social media. I'm always saying things like that too, because it's what it is, you know, it's what I love.
So along those lines, whether it's through the Women's Trucking Federation or what you have done in your business, what is an area that you think you impacted well or still want to keep working on? Something that comes to mind that's been very important that you've been passionate about.
Well, I'll have to admit, I'm passionate about a lot of the trucking industry, and I'm passionate about warehousing. But trucking to me is even more important. Okay, especially because there's a lot of women out there that do want to start being truck drivers and everything, right? And again, if I owned the company, I would be hiring more women truck drivers as well. But I love supporting even men in the industry as well, right? Because I'll admit there have been even some men that, you know, we're not being very nice to about with some people, right? And I was like, no, he's a very nice truck driver. Like, stop. You know, it's very nice, like, you know, to support that stuff. But yeah, it's just supporting the men and the women on all levels. Okay. And a lot of my drivers, you know, they were always so happy with me too. Because they would be asking about some things, or they'd be doing this, and I'm like, hey, no worries, I'm going to support you, I'm going to get you to move forward. And they were so happy with it as well, right? So it was very nice. Yeah, it was very nice. I like it. Yeah.
One thing that I think the first thing that caught my eye with you on Twitter was you love taking pictures of old trucks.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. Because
You
I
love
did.
taking pictures, period.
Well, yeah, I do. Because well, I know, because, you know, again, when I was in LA for a little while, I was a pro photographer as well. And, you know, taking pictures of a lot of celebrities for them and everything.
Wait a minute here. You
Uh,
were in LA
yeah.
as a pro photographer.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
we kind of missed that session. So explain to us what, who, when, where, why.
Well, I just wanted to go and visit because I had some friends there, and so I just wanted to go there and kind of visit, and a lot of them were in the, you know, the industry and all this, the, you know, anyway, so I ended up taking pictures because I thought, oh, this will be fun. So then, but then when I came back, that's when, you know, I was doing all the social media for you know, my company Drapo and all this stuff, and then I was doing a lot of pictures for when I was on the board of the TTA. And then when I, you know,
What's TTA?
Toronto Trucking Association.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, and I started their social media as well and things like that. Right. And then, what else? And then, you know, the TTC, Toronto Transportation Club, right? Toronto, you know, that one, the TTC. Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, so I would go and take a lot of their pictures as well. You know, the ladies lunch and learn and all of that kind of stuff. So if you go to their website, you know, I did take a lot of their pictures for their website as well too, and everything, right? But
How long were you in LA?
how long was I in LA? It was from 1988 to the end of 1994, and that's when I started at my parents in 1995. Right.
So when you were in Los Angeles,
Mhm.
and what would you say, what's a couple of your favorite pictures that you took, or a memory of being at somewhere where you got a great photo?
Well, I was taking a lot of pictures of the singers, like when Katie Lang was there, I went, took her pictures there. Oh my God, there's so many of them. I should have shown you all the pictures.
I've seen you reacting with some of the people, some of the actors down there. And am I right that Carrie Fisher, you knew Carrie Fisher?
Well, yeah, I knew Carrie Fisher, but it was her two sisters that I knew as well, and then the mother and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I was friends with them as well and everything. So yeah.
You're seeing a common theme here, Bridget. Margaret cares about the people.
And Margaret doesn't talk up about what she has done very enough. So if you don't mind, I'm over here Googling her to make sure that if there's any other tidbits she doesn't want to mention, I'm going to find them.
Okay. Okay.
Good Lord, I'm just supposed to be here to talk. Now I have to look you up.
Are you on? Are you also on Instagram?
She sure is.
Well, then you should follow me on Instagram and see all those pictures.
We'll be doing that next.
Okay.
She, Bridget, when she takes nature photographs, I mean, there is such a skill to photography that most people don't realize. It's not just as simple as pointing somewhere and hitting a button.
Not at all. Most of us are pretty much just terrible at it thanks to our smartphones, right?
Yeah. But Margaret can take amazing pictures, probably with a really lousy camera. And
well,
I mean, she could use, not that she has a lousy camera. I mean, she could use a lousy camera and make it look good.
That's what I was meaning. Yes,
but
she will do
sure
that.
She has very.
Oh, look at who's following me now. Oh, shut up. Okay, sorry.
Shocking. Not shut up. I'm shocking because I'm just very busy over here. I'm like, okay, what do I need to see?
Okay, I followed you back.
Bridget,
Great.
Bridget is never content unless she's doing 4 things at once, Margaret.
Oh yeah, yeah. I far prefer that.
Yeah.
For all of you guys know, at this point, I just filed a patent. No.
Oh, okay.
Teasing.
Yeah, you know what? And even like in the warehouse, you know, I created so many things. I even created an SOP, so standard operating procedure, right? And so it was a lot about a lot of things. And then I would go and bring my employees, and we'd go over everything, and they would see it all, and you know, because it's important as well, right? So everything was going very well at that time.
And there is one ugly truth in trucking.
Oh, what's that?
That is that not many owners care about their people.
Oh,
and
I do.
Yeah, and sometimes when you're not ruthless and not bitching at your drivers, you don't get along with the office staff sometimes.
Yeah, no, I never, I was always supportive on all levels, because there would be sometimes some of my employees, they were having issues with some items. Okay. So I would always help them and support them.
Give me an example of that. Give me something that was going on where you just had to say, wait a minute, and you could be the voice of reason and all that.
Well, some of them was because they didn't understand how to offload items from a container. Okay. And if there was different products on that container, you know, they didn't understand how to then, you know, write the things down and make sure that everything was proper and all of that stuff. So then I would always go and help them, because these were new clients of mine. So I always go and help them and train them and to move forward, right, on items like that. Yeah, no, and so it was items like that,
Just
right?
handling and documenting
Yes.
stuff, and instead of just coming down harshly on the drivers. You were more interested in training them how to do it properly.
Well,
So
yeah.
that everybody was happy.
Well, yeah. And then with some of my clients, if they wanted to put 6 different items on a pallet, right? And then have it shrink wrapped and then put away and stuff like that. So sometimes some of the items that they would put on there, they were the wrong item. So I would always go and make sure and look, and then I would show them, I'd say, hey, listen, here, some of the items were not the right item placed on that pallet. So you can't make sure, you have to always make sure that it's the proper one. Because sometimes it's their numbers, that the SKU number, right? That the client would say, hey, this is the SKU number, whatever, right? So sometimes they would do things a little differently. And so then I would go and I would help them and I'd support them and I'd show them. And they're like, oh, okay, thanks, Margaret. Thank you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so everything was being done properly. So nothing was being shipped out wrong, and all of that stuff, right?
So when the transition of the company happened, that the way you treated the drivers wasn't looked on very favorably, right? They were trying to tell you to operate a certain way, and you're like, this has been working. This is how we can look after our drivers.
Yes, yes.
You got pushback on that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, like all my drivers were always happy with what I was doing and stuff, right? And yeah, they really were. So it was very nice.
So
but-
let's I'm going to throw something at you.
Okay.
What is, when you look back in your career, what is one of the most significant times, fun times, something that really stood out? If you're sitting around with a bunch of people, what is one story that you like to tell, or people that have heard it before, like, hey, tell this story? You have any of those? I mean, I'm sure you do.
You want me to tell you a story?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, what kind of a story?
The one that you love to share with people when you're at an event, the one that just makes it stand out.
Well, yeah, at all the events, like I was at all of the events, right? And I was, a board member of the Ontario Trucking Association as well, and everything, right? But a lot of it was, I guess, a lot of it was I was always supporting all of my truck drivers as well, and my warehouse employees and everything, right? And so then when I would go to these events and everything as well, I would always come back to them and share with them a lot of stuff that was going on and what happened and how I was, acknowledging, my staff and my truck drivers as well. Like, oh my God, this is, and so a lot of people were happy with what I was doing and saying to them about them as well. There was some, it was like every week I would always, like, to all my drivers, like when they would come back on Fridays, I was always giving them a little gift card, like, for all, like a $20 gift card. Here you go. Thank you for coming back. Here you go. You guys are great. And, things like that. Right. Because some of them wanted a Tim Hortons gift card, and it's not that they wanted it, but I wanted to give it to them because it was just respectful that way. Right. Yeah. And then every month, I was always giving a gift to my warehouse employees as a thank you to them as well. So I was always doing things like that to all of them.
Did you ever do any trips in a truck?
Well, not cross border, but I would go to, to our local, like I would go locally with my drivers, because I just wanted to be with them and see how it was. And then when they were going to my customers and my clients, I just always wanted to make sure that, they were respected and things like that. So it was fun. Like my clients were like, wow, this is really fun, Margaret, that you're here. And I'm like, yeah.
Were you able to ever go incognito?
Incognito? No.
Everybody
So
always
you-
knew, right?
You weren't like the undercover boss.
No,
They knew you.
no. I wasn't I was always just supportive all the time. I was never yelling at people,
Mhm.
you know, like it's not nice to yell at people and stuff like that, right?
I used to be I was a fleet manager for a while, and I had like 100 drivers, but every once in a while I would drive a truck too to make a little extra money, right? So
Oh,
I'd be out on the road, and some of the drivers didn't know me, especially the guys that weren't on my fleet, and they're like, "Well, what do you know?" You know,
Oh.
and it's like, maybe a little more than what you think.
Yeah, yeah, no,
Mhm.
it was no, and then you know, I was just I don't know, it was just fun being with them all the time, you know. I loved it. Like it was nice. It was really nice. So yeah, it was good times. I
Yeah.
liked it. And then I would go with my women drivers as well, you know, that I'd hired. And I was like, I want to go with you. And, you know, but I couldn't go cross border with them and everything to some of my women drivers. Like I couldn't do that. Right. Because I had to still stay at my office and my warehouse and my all of that. Right. So, but yeah, no, it was very nice. Yeah. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. Yeah. It was very
What?
nice. And
How was your golf game coming along last year?
my golf game?
Yeah, you're looking
Oh,
forward to getting more golf in,
oh yeah, yeah. It was nice. I loved it.
getting.
Well, listen,
That's
I'm
one
a
of your hobbies, right?
I'm a transportaholic. I'm a warehouseaholic. I'm a golfaholic, and that's it.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, and a women's supporter and a man supporter for all of this stuff. You know, it's very nice. It's very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I even have I do have a forklift license. So yeah.
So let's go over some trucker slang.
Trucker
Well,
slang.
and maybe not even so much slang, but there's a couple things that if you are new to this operation, new to this podcast, you might not understand or know some of the things that are just very common language that gets used. So, for instance, as someone from the outside looking in, if I hear broker or shipper, what's the difference? Because I honestly mean, I wouldn't know.
Well, I think a broker is a non-asset based company, right? It's where they're farming out freight to different carriers, right?
Yeah.
That's what that is. Oh,
So
what did you just eat?
Piece of candy.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, Margaret. I will eat randomly whenever I get the chance. Don't
Oh no,
don't be surprised.
No, you go ahead. That's fine.
She eats like a linebacker, she says, and then she walks like 20 miles every day.
That's fine.
Just
Yeah.
before noon.
That's
Vicky's
okay.
gonna have to take that part out.
Oh.
But yes, I mean, so then you guys just said asset based versus non-asset based. Okay.
Mhm.
Again, I want to make sure. So a broker would be non-asset based. He
Right.
doesn't have physical ownership or control of that inventory, correct?
Right.
Of the trucks.
The trucks. Of the trucks.
Of the trucks.
Yeah, of the
Okay.
trucks. Yeah.
So
Okay.
a broker could be somebody that goes to a customer and says, I can make sure that all of your freight gets moved.
Right.
And that broker may not have any trucks of his own. And the customer says, okay, you do it. Here's the price. And this guy or girl turns around and goes to somebody and says, or goes to a trucking company, asset-based trucking company,
Yeah.
and says, I have this load out of this place going to this place. Can you take care of it for me?
Mm-hmm.
And the broker takes a percentage, and as much percentage as he can. And yeah.
Yeah.
brokers aren't always the nicest people, but
Okay.
there's some really good brokers. There's a
So-
need for them.
Yeah, there are some good brokers. Yeah, and you know the one,
Episode 18.
More
Karen
editing,
Persick.
Dave. Karen.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Karen Persick. Yeah,
Okay.
she's a non-asset based
Okay.
company.
Okay.
So,
So
and
then,
that's actually why you asked that question, because you weren't there, Bridget, and
Yeah, it was
Talk to
Trailways
us.
Transportation Group.
Trailways. Yep.
Yeah, she's very nice.
Yep. she
Yeah,
is.
yeah, she's very nice. That's very nice.
so if we were going to make a clear distinction then of the broker then versus the shipper, shippers are asset based. They actually own trucks.
No.
No,
Shippers.
no,
Okay.
no.
So what does that mean?
So they would go,
Are the original customer.
yeah,
Shipper has the freight to move. The carrier hauls the freight
yeah,
with
Okay.
the broker.
that's right.
And
Okay.
then the receiver is the one that takes the freight.
That's right. Yeah,
And there are some
Okay.
large companies that run their own brokerage system as well. So they'll say, I can look after 10 loads a day for you. And they may only have enough trucks for 5 loads a day. So then they farm out the other 5 loads to other carriers.
yes,
So they are still an asset-based carrier that also does brokerage.
Okay.
that's right. Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
to make it more complicated.
Well, no.
Well-
It's even like even when I was owning Drapo and commercial warehousing, right? Some of my clients in the warehouse, they always had their own carriers that were hauling items from areas that Drapo never hauled from, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then they would use them. So yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
What
Okay.
else did you have there, Bridget?
Those are the big things I wanted to hit today, because I just felt like there's times where we don't always, as an audience, and I consider myself part of the audience, don't always know exactly the terms that are going on, which is why I always stop you when you use an acronym like TTA. Okay, what is
Right.
that? So I don't get lost in the
Okay.
conversation.
Okay.
And that happens in my world a lot too, that we talk in acronyms. It's sort of a special language, and you know that language if you're in it every day. But for those who aren't, this is just a way to cover ground, help people know. And I think any other questions that we have for acronyms or terms we'll
Mhm.
probably get to as we continue through episodes. But I would also encourage those who are listening to say, I heard episode whatever, but you guys talked about this particular item, or you said this word or acronym. I don't know what that is. Well, if you let us know, then there's an opportunity for us to help educate. And I always think that's very important.
Yeah, I agree with you. Thank you. And je parle français. Je parle
Oh.
français.
You
Oh,
she speaks French.
I speak French.
God bless you. That's awesome. I can swear in German. So
Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, I won't-
That's
I won't
all I can do.
Okay. All right.
So that literally translated was I speak French, right? Is that what you
Which-
said, Margaret?
Oui, je parle français.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Because
She
JG
loves French.
Drapeau is my mother's maiden name. Drapeau is French.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah, we should have covered that in the beginning.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway.
Are you fluent?
Oui, j'ai fluent. Yes.
Oh, good.
Oui. Oui.
I-
Je parle.
I
Okay.
know just enough to be dangerous.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I wrote an article
yeah.
about
Let's
languages.
see, and on my, I don't know if you can see that. Oh, well.
Yeah.
It says mon âge pour toujours.
Oh,
Hey. It's,
Nice.
that's because that was my grandmother, Drapeau.
Yeah.
Mon âge pour toujours. She was always my angel.
that's an
Well,
awesome tattoo. Very cool.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, for those who aren't watching on YouTube, that was a tattoo on Margaret's arm.
Yeah.
And you just never know. maybe VIP can take a picture of that and use it when she sends out some of our social media.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's still listening. We didn't put her to sleep, so she's still listening. She gave us the thumbs up.
Okay. Yeah.
Good
That's
news.
very nice. Very
Any
nice.
final thoughts, Margaret? Anything else you want to say before we wrap up here? know
I
you
just
have
want to
go your-
say, well, and I want to say thank you very much. Like, I appreciate your support on all levels, all of you. And yeah, it's very nice. And hopefully I can meet you all soon. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe if I go into a truck, I can come meet you down where you were in the United States.
Yeah.
Hey, when that border opens, I have a lot of reasons to jump up into Canada for a little while. And I'm like, it's close. So
Well, then,
it's totally within reason.
then you can come stay at my place, because I have a whole master bedroom that it can be all yours. It has your own bathroom, your own master bedroom, everything.
I'm coming to look at the pictures. Who are you kidding?
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
You're gonna
Right.
take a kabillion selfies with me and whoever is in your pictures.
Yeah. I know. Oh, it's wonderful.
So we want to thank Jesse James Dupree for the music It Didn't Fall from the Sky and Dixie Inc. Truck and Uncle Sam for putting together music, not just for us, but for the whole industry.
Yeah.
Thank Margaret for everything you've done for this industry and what your family's done for this industry. I really mean it, Margaret, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank
that
you.
You have been so amazing in this industry, and I know you will continue to be. And I really appreciate that. And thanks to VIP for doing our social media stuff. And
Yeah.
Bridget, close us
Thank
out,
you.
please.
Thank
Thanks,
you so
everyone.
much.
Oh,
Thank
Margaret,
you.
it's such a pleasure.
Oh,
Thank
no,
you.
okay, sorry, my heart. Okay. Sorry,
That's
everybody.
perfect.
You're all so nice. Thank you. And David, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much as well.
Yeah.
Like, I really do. I appreciate you too. All of
Yeah.
you.
It's been a fun chance to visit, folks. Thank you.
I know.
We look forward to this posting and for people to be able to follow you, Margaret, on
Thank you.
Instagram and Twitter.
Aw, thank
And
you.
again, subscribe to what we do with the Crazy Canuck Truckin' podcast and let the fun begin.
I know. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care. Okay. Bye.